and welcome to another exciting episode of TABCast. Today's episode is to highlight TAB Group's upcoming second World Cold Chain Expo on the 10th and 11th of September 2025 at the magnificent Festival Arena in Dubai. I'm Tanya, and today we are shining a light on one of the key players driving innovation and sustainability in the cold chain space and logistics. We have Global Shipping Logistics, GSL, and joining me from GSL is Mr. Premin Matthew, who is General Manager Operations at GSL. Premin, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome to the podcast. And can I quickly know your thoughts about the event and how excited are you to be a part of it?
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for the quick introduction. Premin Matthew, managing operations for GSL. Been with GSL for the last 5 years. Before this, I was with Agility for close to a decade or more than a decade. I would say WCC event has been fantastic the last year. A lot of learnings, a lot of such events normally happens in Dubai, but something that is focused mainly on cold chain is not something that you see every day. So the way that this event has come up to showcase all the cold chain players in the market, try to bring them all under one platform, exchange opportunities. What is the foreseeable future? What the technology is driving towards? I think it was a good 2 to 3 days event that we have had last year, and I see you guys are evolving, every year, and I look forward for an exciting event this year as well, and happy to share my thoughts and comments as we move forward.
Absolutely. I think very beautifully portrayed, Premin. And when it comes from experience of the last edition, we're really happy that you're re-participating with us as a key sponsor. And it gives us immense happiness as well when, there's a customer, there's a partnership trust with the event. So before we dive into the logistics side of things and we talk serious, just to get to know you a little better, let's start on a lighter note. You have been in the logistics and operations space for quite some time with your experience. So what first drew you into this sector and what keeps you motivated to stay in such a demanding yet dynamic industry growing at such a good pace of lately?
Over the last 15 to 17 years, crossing now me being in the supply chain industry, me coming from an engineering background, supply chain was a completely different space for me. But here I am, close to 20 years in this industry. But what keeps the things going in this industry is that it's not just one man's show here. Supply chain works as a team's effort. It's a collective team effort that you see. Yeah. You have people who are working at the ground level, people who are driving the trucks, people who are driving the forklifts, people who are there sitting on the systems, people who are sitting on the computers, IT, WMS, ERPs. It's a collective efforts of a big team that is keeping the things or the world moving, right? So you're not one superstar there are multiple superstars who are there in this industry who are collectively performing to make sure the customer gets products at the right time, at the right quality. And that is what we all, that aspire for. So during this whole elongated journey from the time products are being shipped from or packed and shipped from the companies or the warehouses till it reaches the end customers, supply chain undergoes different challenges. And I've been fortunate enough to play through those different challenges, which kept me busy day in and day out. And each day is a new day. I mean, you get to meet new people, you get to meet new customers, challenging ERP systems. I mean, and the KPIs and the customers' expectations, right? It keeps on changing. What was last year is not this year's KPI. I mean, it's dynamic. It's so dynamic. I would say this is as dynamic as any other industry, that unless you are challenged yourself, you are not going to keep up to meeting the expectations. So what makes GSL also different is that you are being challenged every day to meet customers' expectations. I mean, what we expected last year is not what is today. So that is what keeps me driving, I would say. And I got a fantastic team with me to support me to drive this excellence.
That's perfect to listen to. And I think it comes out as poetry when you are driving a long experience journey along with the kind of results that you're also interested in bringing out even today. and you realize the importance of everyday change in the industry and how you need to sometimes tailor, sometimes cater, and everything to the client, and what actually keeps you running. If you really understand that, I think that's the most interesting part of any job, and in an industry like supply chain and logistics, especially focusing on cold chain operations in today's world, it's completely enriching to understand that from you.
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
without a further ado, let's really get into the discussion that we are supposed to hold today. To start with, how has the role of third-party logistics, 3PL providers, evolved in the cold chain sector over the past few years, especially, while meeting the demands of temperature-sensitive industries like food, perishables, pharmaceuticals, because we've been seeing a journey that these industries are completely utilizing the cold chain logistics procedures and processes very often now.
Correct. So, I mean, see, over the last couple of decades, I would say 3PL companies have undergone a massive change.
Hmm.
Uh, the transformation has been mainly in terms of systems. It could be in terms of the machines that we use or the visibility perspective. Supply chain has been more of disruptive and dynamic over the past few decades. And what has transformed the relationship with the customer is that it has become like a partnership. So it's no more a 3PL company, it's much more an integrated supply chain partnership. So every customers that you deal with over a period of time, you tend to develop that kind of a partnership with them, understanding their relationships, understanding their challenges, and then trying to see how do we customize solutions within our capabilities and make sure the end customer has been fulfilled with the needs, right? Now, our the temperature control products, when you talk about the sensitivity around the quality and the time that it all takes, what makes it more, I would say, stand in front is on the end-to-end visibility, right? Customers wants to know at every single stages where my shipment is, where it has reached, what is the temperature right now at, and how much more time it will take to deliver to the customer. I mean, that visibility is the first thing that has shaped us to where we are today. When
Right.
it comes to compliance and risk mitigation, I mean, every customer is now global. Everyone wants to be global. Everyone tends to adapt to what the mega top 7 companies are doing. So data is available. What quality information is required for every customer is available over the whole internet. There are qualified quality personnel who are there with every company's compliance, risk mitigations, and how robustly the whole framework of management in terms of business continuity planning has to be done as well has shaped up quite a lot. And
Right.
also, when you go to data-driven results, right? Like I said, visibility. What is visibility? You're talking about data. The data comes from the bottom to the top. How do you play with the data? What kind of decisions can you make from data? You got to
Exactly.
show how your supply chain is performing and what all optimizations can be done over a period of time. And customers keeps challenging you. There is definitely a push from the customer side to improve day in and day out, right? In addition to all these things, what comes as today's one of the biggest topic is how are you integrating sustainability to the complete end-to-end process? What
Absolutely.
is your environmental footprint? What are the green initiatives? How are you setting expectations, being a differentiator? So there are few elements that have dynamically changed over the past decade from what you call as a typical supply chain 3PL partners to what it is today. But at GSL, I think what we have done is that we have been evolutionizing over a period of time when it comes to technology, our infrastructure, and also nurturing talent and retaining talent. I mean, this has been one of the biggest problem as well. So what was 10 years ago, the world has become very global right now. People have become more international right now. You don't tend to see people retaining with, staying with companies for more than 3 years, 5 years, right? How do you retain talent? You have developed people over a period of time, and it makes it even more challenging to retain a good quality people over a period of time. So it's a whole ecosystem that we are trying to drive seamlessly. I would say the next 10 years is even going to be more brighter, but the last 10 years to now has been a dynamic change, a drastic change.
Fantastic. I think those were some great points, and I really liked how you tend to make some highlights about the whole process being interlocated, how it has to be a very holistic approach of lately, and how you've also framed sustainability not just as a compliance requirement, but as an operational priority. So, if I were to
Correct.
ask, could you share some key initiatives that are aimed at reducing the environmental footprint of your cold chain operations at GSL?
Well, see, when it comes to sustainability aspect, I mean, as you know, it's very evident that everyone is going towards solar-driven power, solar-driven warehousing, electronics inbuilt into your systems for data driving your machines. Also, when it comes to the fleets running on EVs, machines running on lithium batteries, the whole sustainability event is shifting towards a traditional way of operating to more of a sustainable way of operating, right?
Yeah.
But what is really going to change from a supply chain warehousing aspect, I would say, is robotics automation.
Mm.
Today to run this massive facility, we got close to around 1,000 people or 1,200 people. Uh, and as the supply chain expands to multiple regions, you are only going to increase the number of headcounts here. And when you have increased number of headcounts, what you're going to do is you're going to require more housing, you're going to require more administrative people, you need to have a team to manage it, and the rising cost of all the inflation that is happening, right? I
Absolutely.
think the next 10 to 15 years, I think we are going to drive towards robotics automation. I
Mm.
think that is what is going to be a key change. You see the Western world, you see China. In our last travel to China, we have seen the big players in China have already started to adapt into
Mm.
manless operation. So
Absolutely.
the whole Middle East region, how we are going to cope up with robotics automation and how we will get into a manless operation is what we need to see from a sustainable perspective, right? I mean, that is going to have more drive towards ensuring that we have 24/7 working. At the same time, we cater to the customers by ensuring sustainability is at the forefront.
Absolutely. And I think coinciding sustainability with innovation really impacts the kind of energy efficiency and cost effective methods that we need to apply to the business. And WCC is actually a platform, especially this year, because I have had the privilege to, interact with a lot of these exhibitors who are trying to bring their kind of innovative solutions or technologies that they've built as software solutions that provides automation services to better the whole process of your supply chain and logistics system while incorporating sustainability. So I think this year's edition is exactly the kind of solution that those who are involved in these post traditional modern ways of handling the logistics and supply chain process in the cold chain sector would be really helpful for them. And it's interesting and impressive to also know that how things like these can also deliver to both sustainability benefits as well as running the business really smoothly. This
One
leads
more thing
me.
is that, sorry there, Tanya, one more thing that we discussed in our last meeting and in our last session of WCD event was that when you're running this cold chain facility, the cold chain itself means that it has to be temperature controlled facility.
Controlled.
So running on temperature controlled facilities require lots of power, right? Normally, you run temperature controlled facilities using a refrigerant called as ammonia. Some warehouses run on freons.
Hmm.
How much of electric and how much of a solar panels that you put, there is only a certain amount of energy that you can compensate, but the rest of the energies has to be through this ammonia power plants and all those kind of things. In the Europe, there is already an alternate to ammonia that has come,
Hmm.
and also that will also play a key role. I mean, ammonia by itself as a refrigerant is environmental friendly, but what are the alternates to ammonia that can come in the next 5 to 10 years is
Hmm.
also significantly going to change from a sustainability perspective on building up a warehouse and running the warehouses efficiently from a refrigerant perspective.
Right, absolutely, absolutely correct. And I think that's a very fair point that you've made, that you need to balance it out in a way that that is also not harming the kind of business that you're dealing with. And this also leads me to my next question, Mr. Premin. Are your clients in sectors like food, healthcare, retail, and pharmaceuticals demanding sustainable 3PL solutions in today's time? If yes, then how is it that you are catering or responding to these evolving expectations?
See, most of the customers are, like I said in the beginning itself, I mean, they are into ESG right now. I mean,
Hmm.
everyone wants to know your carbon footprint and how well as their supply chain partner, how are their partners doing? So a lot gets into the usage of how the pallets are being delivered.
Hmm.
What is the CO2 footprint? Is there anything that we can do to transform or change from a traditional delivery mode to an electronic or an EV mode
Hmm.
truck? So at GSL, we are doing trial testings with a few of the EV trucks for deliveries. However, frozen being a challenge because when you have to cover over 150 to 200 kilometers at minus 18 to minus 20, and the truck running capacities and the plug-in points that you may need to ensure at delivery points that may need to be plugged today is a little bit of a challenge. That said, I think TC, temperature control products, and chilled products, we should see tremendous footprints that is going to come up from GSL side as we move forward. What also gets requested by customers is in your operations, how are you doing? How are you bringing sustainability? I mean, that is where robotic automations comes into place, and GSL will be investing in the next 6 to 8 months heavily into robotics, and that should eliminate the use of wooden pallets, plastic shrink wraps, burning machines, energies, and all those kind of things will be a good trade-off in the coming years. And the future is bright from a sustainability perspective because awareness is getting created across all the supply chain players, and everyone is driving towards one aim. So
Right.
we will only see improvements as we move forward.
No, that's really insightful, Premin. And also, this really answers the curiosity of why I wanted to know about the broader picture of the industry as a whole and how these sustainable measures and inculcating newer technological methodologies will make the resilient cold chain industry, especially catering to the Middle East market. And especially in the Middle East, I think it's important to be very temperature sensitive when it comes to the cold products, considering the kind of humidity and hot weather that prevails over there. So it's a very niche market, but it has so much importance for the Middle East sector that it is impossible to ignore the kind of newer technologies, advancements, and the kind of trends that are coming to the whole sector as a whole. So, thank you for sharing that. Now, if I were to ask you, coming to the second edition of the WCC, are there any announcements? Is there any new technology or any new processes that you would like to share with the platform? We could just uncover a little secret, if not the whole thing.
I think I unveiled the secret. What we are investing is towards automation. Okay,
Okay.
and automation is the next big thing.
Hmm.
How much ever you try to, often you get asked, hey, do the Six Sigma, do the Gamba walk, reduce people, reduce that process. How much
Hmm.
ever you try and do things, the whole world is shifting towards robotics.
Hmm.
And it all depends on how quickly we adapt to robotics and automation.
Hmm.
Okay. We are talking about shuttler operations. We are talking about 3D shuttles, 4D shuttles, different kinds of different kinds of technologies are already implemented, time tested in the Western and in Chinese world. It's
Hmm.
only matter of time that we in the Middle Eastern side, where we are having lots of challenges with shortage of labor, quality labor, I would say, predictive maintenance, preventive maintenance, shortage of spare parts. You have a machine downtime. It takes 26 days if it has to come by by a ship, or it takes more than 7 days to ship it by plane.
Hmm.
What we are all driving towards is automation, and I think
Hmm.
that is where the world is driving towards. And what automation is going to bring in the next few years is sustainability, reduce accidents, incidents, have a very good predictive maintenance in place, superb data. You're going to have data-driven results because robots is robots. You can really count on the numbers, what it is going to show. So
Right.
twinning AI, artificial intelligence with machine intelligence is going to, develop a lot of data, and that data can then determine a very good forecasting, demand planning for the customers, and also ensuring that the right products reaches at the right time with the customer. The
Absolutely.
whole, like the first point that I said, visibility across the end-to-end supply chain.
Mm.
That is where we are going to drive towards. And there are many government initiatives and regulatory compliance that is also clubbed along with all these factors that I said. And I think we are all moving in the right direction. And automation and robotics is a next game changer for all of us.
Completely. I think I completely agree. And there's an enormous pool of opportunities currently lying in this sector, especially when we're trying to incorporate automation and robotics, especially given the Middle East strategic role in global trade, I think. And the way you framed it
Yes,
also shows how the sector is aligning with regional priorities, how companies like GSL are, actually promoting the idea of collaborations and partnerships, and also incorporating public-private partnerships into the whole process also changes the game a little when the government is laying down guidelines and they're providing these kind of incentivization to such partnerships or solution providers. So it becomes much more easier for platforms like World Cold Chain Expo to accelerate and bring out these discussions at a platform
exactly.
wherein everybody is at one stage, and they're trying to give address the challenges, they're trying to address the opportunities. There are so many investors who are also looking to bring across from, let's say, if there's a Middle Eastern market that's seeking a sort of a partnership, but somewhere else in the country or in the world, there's available pool of resources that we can bring to the
Right.
Middle East market. So that's the whole aim of World Cold Chain Expo. You've already experienced it last year, so I'm
Exactly.
sure you have the gist
That
of
it's,
it.
it's only going to develop multifold. We
Absolutely.
are, I mean, the talent showcase that you have done in the last event as well is commendable. And with every event, you see the count of innovations are only going to go up the ladder.
Absolutely.
Traveling across the world, the future is bright. The world is heading into a different direction
Mm.
altogether, and it's going to be bright for supply chain. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be challenging,
Mm.
but it's going to be equally interesting to see how the whole supply chain transformation is going to shape up for the next
Right.
10 years.
Exactly. And absolutely, I think that's the beauty of platforms like WCC. They are not just
Correct.
exhibitions. But we are becoming a knowledge sharing space, where sustainability, innovations, technology, they get the real traction that they need. And
Correct.
businesses
Correct.
rarely get the hint of what is it that they need to maybe even build more, or what is it that they can share with their peers in the industry. So it's great to hear
Exactly.
how GSL values this exchange, and you're happy to contribute to the dialogue. I think your
Thanks.
participation, Premin, will definitely help shape the regional conversations in a very meaningful way.
For sure.
And
For sure.
finally, is there any message that you would like to share with other industry stakeholders, delegates, or VIPs that are going to be present at the venue on behalf of GSL?
I think everyone talks about AI, everyone talks about machine learning, everyone talks about automations, but uh, I would go towards always one thing: how do we keep our talents? How do we keep
Mm,
our people with us? How
mm,
do you manage to retain and develop talents within your industry, within the supply chain niche environments, right? I mean, that is going to be the next big thing as well. The talent pool has to be retained.
mm,
You got to help the talents with these kind of innovations so that their day-to-day work can be made easier and seamless. In
absolutely.
that way, we tend to create a very good ecosystem for a smarter and a sharper supply chain without much of surprises that you will deal with, right? You equip your people to perform better, and that is what all these tools are going to enable you, and that is what we need to see as well. So such kind of events, exactly like how you said, the WCC events, showcasing innovations from different partners from across the globe and
Right.
what the market intelligence is bringing to you is what matters. So
Absolutely.
looking forward for this networking, looking forward to this partnership. It has been a great event, lots of learnings, and it's not going to stop. It's just going to continue. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Premin. That was such a great call to action, and it was a really insightful discussion with you. Thank you for sharing your perspectives on the evolving role of 3PL providers. That was the aim of the discussion as well, and sharing that GSL is really committed to innovation, sustainability, and retaining the kind of talent you think will ensure the profitability of the whole business. And to our listeners from Tab Group, don't forget to join us, GSL and various other companies, exhibitors, and innovators at the second World Cold Chain Expo on 10th and 11th of September at the Festival Arena, Dubai. And we'll see you there. Stay tuned for more conversations. Thank you for your time, Premin.
Thank you, Tanya. Looking forward to see you soon. Have a great event. All the best.
Absolutely. Thank you.